I bought 8 different Dollar Tree candles and 8 comparable Bath and Body Works candles, matched them up by scent as closely as I could, and tested every single pair side by side in the same room under the same conditions. I genuinely did not expect the results to be this close. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which Dollar Tree candles are worth grabbing instead of paying full price, and which ones you should skip entirely. If you're new here, this channel is all about finding real value at Dollar Tree. So if that sounds useful to you, go ahead and hit subscribe before we get into it. Quick note on how I tested these. I burned each pair for the same amount of time in the same size room with no fans or air movement, and I rated each one on scent strengths, scent accuracy compared to the pricier version, and how evenly it burned. Let's get into the results. Number 1. Vanilla. The Dollar Tree vanilla candle actually held up impressively well here. The scent throw was slightly weaker than the Bath and Body Works version, but the actual vanilla note itself was remarkably close, warm, and true rather than artificial or overly sweet. This was one of the strongest performers of the entire test. And honestly, if I hadn't been the one lighting both candles, I'm not sure I could have picked out which one cost 4 times as much just from smell alone. Number 2. Cinnamon. This one was a bit more of a gap. The Bath and Body Works cinnamon candle had a noticeably spicier, more complex scent, while the Dollar Tree version leaned a little one-note and slightly sharper than I'd have liked. Still burns fine, but the scent match wasn't as close as I was hoping for, and if you're specifically chasing that warm, layered Bath and Body Works cinnamon profile, this is the one pairing where the price difference genuinely shows up in the actual scent. Number 3, fresh linen. This was genuinely one of the biggest surprises of the whole test. Side by side, I actually had trouble telling these two apart during the first 20 minutes of burning. The Dollar Tree version faded a little faster over time, but for the first half of the burn, it was a near identical match, which made this one of the results I was least prepared for going into this whole comparison. Number 4, pumpkin spice. This one leaned artificial compared to the Bath and Body Works version, with a scent that read more like general fall candle than an actual pumpkin spice profile. Not bad, but noticeably behind the more premium version in terms of accuracy. And if pumpkin spice is a scent you're particularly picky about each fall, this is one of the pairings where I'd say the gap is worth noticing before you commit to a full haul of these. Number 5. Lavender. Another strong performer. The Dollar Tree lavender candle had a clean, true lavender scent without the somewhat perfumey edge that a lot of budget lavender candles tend to have. Scent throw was slightly lower, but for a bedroom or a smaller room, this held up really well. And honestly, for a nighttime candle where you're not necessarily trying to scent an entire living space, the lower throw barely matters. Number 6. Coconut. This was one of the weaker matches in the whole test. The Bath and Body Works coconut candle had a rich, almost creamy quality to it that the Dollar Tree version just didn't replicate, coming across thinner and less complex by comparison, which honestly makes sense given how many overlapping notes go into a convincing coconut fragrance. And number 7, the one that genuinely shocked me the most, apple cinnamon. I expected this to be a middle-of-the-pack result at best, but the Dollar Tree version nearly matched the Bath and Body Works candle in both scent throw and accuracy. Testing them side by side with the lids off, I actually had a friend do a blind smell test, and she guessed wrong on which one was the pricier candle. That's how close this particular match was. And out of every single pairing in this entire test, this is genuinely the one I'd point to first if someone asked me which Dollar Tree candle to grab instead of the pricier version. And number 8, closing out the list, Ocean Breeze. This one landed somewhere in the middle. Not a bad candle by any means, but the Dollar Tree version had a slightly more chemical, less airy quality compared to the cleaner scent profile of the Bath and Body Works original, which kept it out of the top tier despite being a perfectly usable everyday candle. So here's the overall breakdown. Out of 8 scents tested, 3 were genuinely close enough matches that I'd happily buy the Dollar Tree version every time: vanilla, fresh linen, and apple cinnamon. 2 more, lavender and ocean breeze, were solid enough that I'd grab them without much hesitation. And 3, cinnamon, pumpkin spice, and coconut had a big enough gap that I'd still lean toward the pricier version if scent accuracy really matters to you for that specific scent. So why does the gap vary this much scent to scent instead of being consistent across the board? It largely comes down to how complex a specific fragrance actually is to replicate cheaply. Simpler, single-note scents like vanilla or lavender are genuinely easier to get close to true at a lower cost, since the fragrance oil blend doesn't need to layer multiple competing notes together. More complex scents like coconut or pumpkin spice, which rely on blending several distinct notes to read as accurate, are much harder to nail at a lower price point, since cutting corners on any single note in that blend throws off the whole profile. It's also worth understanding that candle pricing at the premium end isn't purely about the fragrance oil itself. A meaningful chunk of what you're paying for at a specialty retailer covers wax quality, wick construction, and burn consistency testing, all of which affect how evenly and cleanly a candle burns over its full life, not just how it smells on day one. That's part of why even the strongest Dollar Tree matches in this test still showed a slightly faster scent fade over a longer burn than their pricier counterparts. There's also a batch consistency factor worth mentioning. Premium candle brands typically test fragrance oil ratios extensively before mass production to make sure every single candle in a batch smells the same, while budget candle lines sometimes show a bit more variation from batch to batch. That means your results with a specific Dollar Tree scent could vary slightly depending on which shipment you happen to grab, which is worth keeping in mind if you buy one and it doesn't quite match what I described here. So what should you actually do with this information? First, for the 3 strongest matches, vanilla, fresh linen, and apple cinnamon, there's genuinely no reason to pay full price elsewhere unless you specifically want the exact branded packaging. These 3 earned their spot honestly, and I'd grab any of them again without a second thought. Second, for the middle tier scents, lavender and ocean breeze, the Dollar Tree version is a perfectly reasonable everyday candle, but if you're buying a gift or want the scent to be as accurate as possible, it's worth spending a little more. These aren't bad candles at all, they just didn't quite reach the same near-perfect match as the top tier. And third, for the weaker matches, cinnamon, pumpkin spice, and coconut, if scent accuracy genuinely matters to you for that specific fragrance, the pricier version is still noticeably better, and the gap is real enough that I wouldn't try to talk you out of it. There's no shame in mixing and matching here. Grab the strong Dollar Tree matches and save the splurge for the scents that actually need it. If you found this comparison helpful, let me know in the comments which scent you'd want me to test next, because I've already got a list started for a follow-up round. Make sure you're subscribed so you catch that next comparison, because based on how close a few of these were, I have a feeling there are even more surprising matches out there. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.